You may remember Mr. Miyagi telling Daniel-san the story in Karate Kid 2.
Who's that?
That is Miyagi Shinpo Sensei. First Miyagi bring karate to Okinawa.
Oh, the one who went to China.
Right. 1625.
I forgot. How did he get there? By boat?
By accident.
This story is actually loosely based on historical events. A man named Chojun Miyagi had visited Fujian in the early 20th century before he created his own style of karate called Goju Ryu. But it was his own karate teacher, Higawana Kanryo, who'd spent a significant amount of time in China learning multiple arts.
Connect with the karate, Ganju Ryu. No, Ganju Ryu here. Ganju Ryu.
Oh, Goju Ryu.
Goju Ryu. 主庭，主庭 means 就是发源地，它的祖宗的，它是源头。
So the founder of Goju Ryu learned brain style in this temple.
主庭 is like 源头。Yes.
Talking of Mr. Miyagi, the writer for the Karate Kid series actually visited Okinawa while developing the script. And while the original inspiration for the character was a man named Kaio Ong, who taught karate in New York's Chinatown, during his trip here, he met with Yagi Meitoku, a successor to Miyagi Chojun, and took inspiration to redevelop the character for the later movies. Yagi Meitoku founded the Meibukan Dojo in the heart of Kume village, and today his grandson runs the school. Canadian Dan Antonsen is a long-time resident of Okinawa and has been training at the dojo since the 1990s. He kindly took me to watch their training.
The portrait of Chojun Miyagi here, which this is the original picture. Needs to be restored.
Wow.
Many use as a picture that they use in their dojos. So this is the original picture. It needs to be. It's been sitting there.
So this must be a good 100 years old?
No, he died in 1953. So this picture was probably taken in 1952 or 1951.
Okay, so it was quite late in his life.
Quite late in his life, but you can see it was known to have pretty big hands. And this is Meitoku Yagi in the 50s, so I trained with him for about 10 years when I first came. I came here in 1993. He died in 2003, so the last 10 years of his life I was one of the few main foreigners that would come and practice with him. There's about 5 of us who are still alive today and still practice Meibukan today. Originally with him, and then with his son. There's no picture of his son in the dojo though. But this is Meitoku Yagi doing a posture from Seipai. And his portrait, this was late in his life. He was 92 when he died. He was born in 1912. And till he was 90 years old, he would teach in the dojo. Wow. He was almost 92 when he died, depending on you count Chinese style. But even late in his life, he would use a cane, and he would come up to the dojo. He lived one floor below us, and he would put his cane aside, walk into the dojo, teach class, because you have muscle memory, and then he would leave again. So quite a remarkable man. He also got the 4th Order of Merit for Emperor Hirohito. So he was designated as a living cultural asset when he was. It's a big award that they give to the Japanese people that are still living, that have done an art for many years. Now the grandson is a teacher in the dojo now, Akihito Sensei. So he's 48. Of course, grew up in the dojo, and so I went from training with Meitoku Yagi, and at the time both his sons would teach. So then I went from the grandfather to the father is my main sensei, but now his son is the sensei in the dojo. Very special.
And you'd mentioned before that Mr. Miyagi from the Karate Kid was based on Miyagi Sensei.
So the name Mr. Miyagi obviously came from Chojun Miyagi Chojun. They got the name Miyagi, but the character was actually developed about the writer of the Karate Kid. He actually came to this dojo in 1984 and interviewed Meitoku Yagi. We called him Dai Sensei Yagi. He was the senior living Goju practitioner in the world at the time. So he modeled the character over, in my opinion, Meitoko Yagi and a couple other famous Goju practitioners were like Seikichi Toguchi and maybe Seiko Heiga. And that Mr. Miyagi was written after this guy and this guy and this guy. But in my opinion, it was a little bit of each of them. But a large piece of that modeling of the character for Mr. Miyagi was Meitoko Yagi. And even Roy Kamen himself has stated that Meitoko Yagi had a lot to do with it.
The style taught here, Goju Ryu, is probably one of the most popular and characteristic styles of Okinawan karate. As mentioned, the founder, Chojun Miyagi, had spent time in China. He was studying the whooping crane style, which is clearly apparent in their kata. The connection between whooping crane and Goju Ryu is clear. That said, when making such connections, we should also be cautious against assuming that the one style was directly implanted into the other. Most of the Goju Ryu kata are clearly Okinawan creations. Even their sanchin has undergone significant changes from how it was practiced in China. White Crane's sanjan moves both hands together and is focused more on defensive hand shapes. Goju Ryu's sanchin, on the other hand, uses single punches, more akin to the Lohan-Tran version of sanjan, as seen here in Insen shot boxing, albeit Goju Ryu uses a stance more similar to White Crane.
It's a piece of rebar.
And that's what you use for conditioning your arms?
Some of us do.
Which I can say, I don't know if you can quite see on camera the extent of my bruises from you the other day.
We call these Meibukan kisses. And of course, you know, you've seen that.
Yeah.
Dojo, undo that they do. They can do different things. And the traditional jars. So they'll do. Now what they do is start off empty, and when you're good at this, you can put a little sand in it, fill it up, make it a little heavier, and over time and gently and slowly increase the weight. You can also hold them inside like this, but the trick of the jars is your thumb. So most people, they just hold their thumb like this, but you hold your thumb like this. See how I hook it with my thumb? This is how you hold the jar properly.
Another Goju Ryu kata, Tensho, uses many of the White Crane hand shapes, which is actually where Karate Kid's famous wax on, wax off scene got its inspiration.
Sand floor. Big sucker, sand floor. Sand floor. Now show me wax on, wax off. Hey.
Wax on, wax off.
Wax on, wax off. Hey, wax on, hot. Wax off. Concentrate. Look at my eye. Lock a hand. Thumb inside. Up, down, up, down, other side. Look eye, always look eye. Show me paint the house, side, side.